Hey stars, it's Kaylee. Welcome to my much anticipated All My Dolls video for 2023. This year, I got back into collecting after a super long hiatus when I thought I had grown out of American Girl dolls. I started both my AGIG and my agtube account and got my first doll as an adult this year. I hope you enjoy this video and I'm happy to share my little collection with you. I'll be going through my dolls in the order that I got them. The first 4 dolls are my childhood dolls, and I kept them as their original names and for the most part their storybook personalities, with some modifications. I always envisioned them as historical because I did have a lot of historical outfits, but I sort of imagined them as they are either like timeless without a time frame or they time travel in a way, because I always had them mixed together as well as like sharing each other's historical pieces and wearing modern clothes as well. In general, I picture my dolls' ages very similar. They're ambiguous. They have different ages in relation to each other, but not a specific age. Their age kind of depends on my mood or their outfits or whatever the situation is at that time. My very first doll, my very favorite doll, is Samantha Parkington. She is my favorite historical character. I got Samantha for Christmas in 1993 from my parents when I was only 2 years old. I've said it before and I'll say it a million times. I don't know why my parents thought it was a good idea to get a 2-year-old an American Girl doll, but here we are. For the fact that I was only 2, she is in really good condition. She is fragile and very sentimental to me, and her wig is just, it's never gonna be right. I do have a video if you'd like to see it of me fixing her up, but it's never gonna be perfect. But I did think I took good care of her, and I did a pretty good job fixing her up after I got her out of storage. My mom really liked Samantha's collection, and I think she had probably seen her in the catalogs when they were first released, since she would have been a teenager, and probably secretly wanted one herself, so that's why I got Samantha. Samantha is the leader. She is the older sister, and she knows how important she is, but she doesn't flaunt it. She isn't stuck up about it. Samantha and I spent a lot of time together when I was growing up. She also has the best movie. So there's my beloved Samantha. My second American Girl doll is Felicity Merriman. She is honestly probably my least favorite. She is my childhood doll, so I could never replace her or get rid of her, and I did love her as a kid, but to be honest, she kind of creeps me out now. She has barely any face paint, she has the creepy electric Felicity eyes, and she has kind of what I've seen referred to as gray skin disease, so she has a little bit of gray tint, which makes her really spooky looking. As far as I can recall, I got her for my birthday in May of '97 when I was 6. My mom picked out both of my first 2 American Girl dolls. Samantha has very dark hair, so did my mom naturally, and my dad has red hair, and so does Felicity. My mom really loves the colonial time period, so I think that that's why she picked Felicity out for me. Felicity doesn't really have a lot of personality or a real place in my collection, and her books were not really a favorite of mine. Of the 4 dolls that I had from childhood, the Felicity books were definitely my least favorite, and I didn't really care for her collection that much because it felt so old-fashioned. It's very pretty and very detailed, but it's not necessarily my style. So unfortunately, Felicity is definitely my least favorite of my dolls. My third childhood doll is Molly McIntyre. She was the first doll I picked out for myself. I remember saving up for her. I even had a sticker chart to show how much money I had saved for her from gifts and allowance and holidays and things like that. I felt like I saved all year for her, and I was so excited. I imagine my parents contributed quite a bit of that money, but neither my parents nor I really remember the specifics on how that worked, but I do remember a sticker chart in the toy room. We don't live that far from Chicago, and that same year in 1998, when I was 7, the American Girl Place Chicago opened up. It opened up in mid-November, and I got Molly within a month of the store opening, and I actually got to go and have tea at the American Girl Place Cafe with my mom and my doll. The only picture my mom took from that entire day is a very blown out photo of me with Molly. I remember picking her out in person. I can still picture where she was on display at this big round table where the historical dolls were, and that I picked her out. I am not exactly sure what motivated me to pick Molly specifically, but I'm glad that I did. When I was a kid though, I didn't really connect with her that much because Molly had braids and glasses, and I was afraid to break the glasses or to ruin them, and my mom wouldn't let me take the braids out, so I was afraid to mess them up, and I couldn't really do much with her her hair. So that kind of meant that I didn't really gravitate to her as far as if I'm going to pick a doll to play with. It usually wasn't Molly. Now I think Molly is insanely adorable, but I did always love Molly's books. That was probably the main motivation for me picking Molly. Samantha and Molly, kind of a toss-up on which stories I like the best. I love them both. They're so good. Molly does have a little bit of bubble eye, so she has a little bit of like bubbling in her eye. It's not quite silver eye, but it is a defect. So for the most part, she's just gonna live with these cataracts. In my collection, she is sort of a tomboy and smart, just like how she is in the stories, really. She is best buddies with Samantha in my collection. They do share a room in the dollhouse. The last childhood doll I got is Kitridge. I remember when she was first announced, and I was so excited for her to come out. She was so different than the other dolls with her short hair and freckles. I was 9, and I got her in the fall of 2000, the same year she came out. I did pay for her myself too, but I don't remember the same situation as the saving like I did for Molly. What I do remember is when I got her, she came in the mail and my mom brought her in the car to school, and I was able to open her up in the parking lot with my best friend. I didn't really ever let my best friend play with Kit because I always picked Kit because at that point, she was my favorite. So Kit was easier to take around with the short hair, and it was easier to manage and maintain, and it was silky and soft because it was kind of a different material. I did make her more girly than she is in the stories, but still quite a bit like Kit from the stories. In my collection, she's probably right above Felicity. She does have a bum leg, and I just don't connect with her as much as I did when I was a kid. That was my childhood collection of dolls, and in 2023, I got them out of storage. I told my husband, I kind of really want a new doll. Like, it doesn't need to be new, but I want another doll, and he encouraged me to go for it. I had picked a few different dolls. I was looking at Blair, I was looking at Grace, and I was looking at Mary Ellen, and I was looking at Rebecca. My husband told me, get Rebecca. She looks like you. So I got my girl, Zoe. Zoe is a secondhand Rebecca doll that I got from Mercari in January of 2023. She does look a lot like me. Of course, her skin is darker than mine because the lightest skin tone is still darker than my very, very pale skin, but that's okay. She does have the exact same hair color as I do, and she does have the darker hazel eyes. I have dark hazel eyes, but mine are more brown than the green. Rebecca has curly hair, but this doll's curls were already really loose, so I thought, hey, this will work, and I can straighten them a little bit more, get them to fall out more, get them brushed and loose. But I did also give her unique freckles and moles that kind of match where mine are. She is extremely special to me. She's my favorite. She's my mini-me. She also does have bad eyes. She's always looking down, which works for me because I do not like looking people in the eyes at all. It makes me uncomfortable. And looking back at pictures from my childhood, I did the same thing. I didn't look at the camera. When I was a kid, I really wanted an American Girl of today, a doll that looked like me, but the choices at that time were so limited, and none of them had hazel eyes, so none of them were really close to me. So when it presented with the opportunity to get a doll that looked like me and make her look even more like me, I was beyond excited. She is named Zoe because my childhood imaginary friend was named Zoe. Her middle name is Bria, just like mine. Her last name is Barry for a lot of reasons, but mostly because Barry is a rewards tier for American Girl, and it's the color shade of their logo. Because Zoe is my mini-me, she likes a lot of the same things I do, or did as a child. She just kind of likes everything. So she's really into Disney and Harry Potter and art and ducks and 90s millennial interests and nostalgia. Do you want to make her own craft corner in my dollhouse? Because I have a whole craft set up in my house. Zoe is definitely the favorite. She's the one that gets to go places. She's the one I always choose to take pictures of. She's the one that every time I get a new outfit, I'm like, that's for Zoe. This is Dela. I got her in February 2023 on Mercari and fixed her up a little bit. She's in my very first featured video here on agtube. She is a Truly Me number 40. Her name is Dela Mae Cornwell. Dela is named after Donald Duck's sister, Dela Duck. Her middle name is May for the month, and for May in Turning Red and May in Totoro. Cornwell is a name that I had come across when I was just searching for names to put in a list, and I really liked it. It seems to flow, and I'm from Indiana, so I really love corn, so Cornwall. She is a little rambunctious and a little bit bratty in a fun way. She's totally into all of the sports and is a tomboy. This is Carmen. Carmen is a Truly Me number 122. I got her at the American Girl Place Chicago in February of 2023. I had asked my husband to look at all the new Truly Me's and help me pick out one to get in person, and we debated for a while. I had a list going, and he convinced me that this is the best one to get. And ultimately, I'm really glad I did. We spent a good chunk of time at the American Girl store picking her out together to make sure she had the right eyes and bangs and all of that. And I'm super pleased with the doll that I got. I think she is absolutely adorable. I love the Joss mold. She is named Carmen for the big sister in Spy Kids, which is one of my guilty pleasure favorite movies. We were also watching the George Lopez TV show at the time, and his daughter is named Carmen. Bridget is for my cousin who passed away 10 years ago and had highlights at one point that were very similar to the way Carmen's are, so it made me think of her. And she has the last name of Gomez for Selena Gomez, as well as the patriarch of the Addams Family, which we were watching on Netflix, the Wednesday show, around this time as well. Carmen is into Harry Potter, and she loves drama shows. She's one of the older girls in the group and has her own unique style. Next is this Melody doll. I got her as a birthday present from my husband in May of 2023 when we went to the American Girl place Columbus for a birthday weekend. I really wanted a Sonali face mold, and of the dolls available in store, I felt like Melody was the best. I really liked her unique hair because it's textured and it's short with this little flip, and she has these little bangs, and I just thought she was so cute. We spent a ton of time at the store trying to pick one out. They didn't have a lot to choose from, but I was really disappointed in the selection because I thought I wasn't getting the best doll, but I've grown to love her and I'm really happy I got her. She is so incredibly sweet. I don't want any of my dolls to have overlapping first initials, and I already have Molly. So I got Melody and I moved her first name to her middle name. I renamed her Evangeline. Evangeline is for a character in Princess and the Frog. My mom really likes the Melody doll and she loves Princess and the Frog, and Evangeline was a name that I had picked on a list, and we call her Eva for short, which is also because he really loves Wally and Eva. Her last name is Swift because the Melody character is really into music, because I got Melody for my 32nd birthday. So of course I had to change the lyrics to the Taylor Swift song, and I was like, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 32 instead of 22 because I wish I was 22, but Eva is my super smart girly. She loves books and reading and is the sweetest of my girls. She has the sweetest temperament and personality. She's pretty quiet and reserved because she's always reading. Next is Winfred. She is a Just Like You number 35. I got her at a nonprofit charity in Michigan. This lady has a ton of American Girl dolls, clothes, and accessories in the basement of a house she owns for sale for charity. And my husband and I had decided to go there because we didn't get to go to the benefit sale as planned. So while there, we discovered that she had some other things of interest, and I had told my husband, hey, on that shelf there is some dolls that I like. Go tell me which one you think I'd like. And he brings over the same girl I had picked out. So we both felt like, because we had both picked her out individually, we felt like that meant she was the right doll to get. I'd always wanted to get a doll with the strawberry blonde hair, so I was really drawn to that shelf with those dolls on it, and I'm really glad I picked her. I did do a face up on her a little bit because she did have a lot of her face paint was coming off, or I wanted to try and do a face up. I'm not the happiest with it, but I think I did a decent enough job for my first try. I am not super pleased with her lips, but I could redo them if I needed to, but I still think she's super adorable. Her name is Winfred for Winnie the Pooh, as well as Dora Winfred, DW, Arthur's little sister from the Arthur TV show, which was my favorite show as a kid. Her middle name is Daisy for Daisy Duck, and for the flowers, Daisy. Warren is actually for my grandfather. He actually passed away about a month after I got Winnie. Her initials are WDW, which is representing Walt Disney World, which is where I worked for a number of years, and I met my husband there. So I also wanted to play a little homage to that. Winnie is really into dance and all things pink and girly. She loves ballet just like I did when I was little. I imagine her to be one of the younger girls in my collection, probably because of how into ballet I imagine her being, and I was huge into ballet when I was a little kid. Next is Libby. Libby is an Isabel Palmer doll. I also got her at the same non-for-profit that I got Winnie from in July of 2023. She does have a newer classic mold, which I really wanted, and came still in her meat hairstyle and meat clothes. Just she didn't have the pink hair extensions. She was standing on the floor and was like almost untouched. She was dusty, but she wasn't dirty. She wasn't grimy. Her hair was perfect. I had picked her up and I was looking at her and I was like, maybe. And then I put her back down, and I kind of at that point had decided I don't really need a doll. And my husband was like, oh, are you going to get a doll? And I said, well, I'm debating on getting a Kaya. I'm debating on getting this or that. And he's like, well, I don't know. And then he went through and looked around and he picked her up, the same doll I had picked up, and brought her over to me. And he's like, I think you should get her. And I was like, I think I don't need another doll. And he goes, she looks just like your best friend. And I was like, she does, but like I don't need her. And then he said to me, Zoe needs her best friend. So she had to come home with me because of what he said. She does look so much like my best friend, Lauren. So Libby was a name we almost had gone with for Winnie. So I decided to use it for this girl because it starts also with an L, just like my best friend. Sue is for a character in my favorite show, The Middle, which my best friend also really likes that show. And it takes place in our home state of Indiana. And Granger is mostly for Hermione Granger. Libby is into music and animals, just like my bestie was when we were little. Next is Nova. She is a Truly Me number 120 and was a colored hair doll that I really liked. I wasn't sure how I felt about the colored hair dolls, and thinking about them, I was like, well, number 120 has rainbow hair and that kind of can go with anything. So I really wanted an Anea mold, and I picked her out because I thought the rainbow hair could go with anything, and I thought it was very unique as opposed to the mostly pinks, blues, purples that the other dolls had. I ordered her and the next doll during the 4 times points sale in July of 2023 on American Girl's website. She is named Nova because I wanted her name to start with an N, just like Nanea, who she shares a face mold with. I picked Nova because of the bright meaning behind the name to match her hair. Rain is for rainbow, just like her hair, as well as Rainn Wilson, a character who plays Dwight in The Office, which is another one of my favorite shows. The last name Danes kind of just flowed, Nova Rain Danes, and it comes from my husband's name Dan, as well as the character Luke Danes on Gilmore Girls, which is another show I really like that I was watching at the time. Nova is the sweetheart in my collection, and she's very into art and painting, and that's why her hair is all rainbow. Next is Polly. Polly, I also got her at the same time that I got Nova online with AG. Polly is a Truly Me number 115. I got her because I really wanted a Marie Grace face mold. I also want a doll with light skin and a doll with curly hair. Not that those all three needed to be together. They just happened to all come perfectly together in this one doll. She is named Polly for Polly Pocket, which was a favorite toy of mine back in the 90s. Jean and Fox are family names, and I wanted her initials to be PJ. Polly is girly and independent and really likes Disney. She's buddies with Carmen, and she is one of the older dolls in my collection. Last is Arietti Camilla Tanner. Arietti is a Corinne doll, Girl of the Year for 2022. I ordered her during Amazon's doll sale when many dolls were 20% off in August of 2023. I got her through Amazon so that I didn't have to pay for shipping, and that if there was anything that went wrong, I felt more confident in the return process with Amazon than I do with American Girl. I haven't tried to do a return for a doll with American Girl, and I didn't really want to deal with it at this time. So I thought Amazon was the way to go. She was the same price as she was during the sale on American Girl. I had decided I really wanted Corinne, and I saw that she was kind of out of stock in person in like all of the American Girl stores, and I was worried that that meant she was going to be gone soon, which would make sense because she's Girl of the Year 2022. So I really decided that I wanted to get her. I really like how unique she is with the way her eyelashes are and the blue in her hair. I just thought it was so unique and pretty, and the other Corinne face mold doll doesn't have that. She is named Arietti for the movie The Secret World of Arietti, which is a Studio Ghibli film, and it's about another story that I really like about the borrowers, the little people that live in your house, which I was always fascinated by. I love miniatures. I just think that they're so cool. Her middle name Camilla is for my grandmother, who passed a few weeks before I ordered this doll. Tanner is like Tan, which is the character's original last name, as well as the family on Full House, another show I really like. Arietti, or we call her Ari, is adventurous and loves the winter. She is an avid Pokemon collector. She likes collecting the cards and character figurines and learning about them, which is something I did a lot as a little kid. While I'm not as much into Pokemon anymore like I once was, my brother still really is. So that was kind of the inspiration for it being her special interest. My ultimate collection goal is to have one of every face mold. So I still have at least 5 dolls that I need to get to complete the current existing face mold collection. I'm very proud of my collection. While it feels small compared to some other people's collections, it is bigger than I ever thought I would have. I more than tripled my childhood collection, and that is wild to think. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I would have gotten more dolls, certainly not this many, and certainly not with the intention of at some point getting more. Thank you so much for joining me for this video that took me forever to make and forever to get motivated to do. I wasn't sure really what all to talk about, so I just kind of started writing a little bit about each of my dolls and then just kind of went with it. So thank you for sticking around during this super rambly video about all my dolls. I really appreciate you being here, and I appreciate all the support that you all have shown me. If you're new here, I would really appreciate you subscribing to my channel and connecting with me over on Instagram. Definitely leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of my collection. Tell me what else you'd like to hear about my collection, or if you have any other ideas on videos or topics you'd like me to talk about or cover. I am incredibly grateful to be part of this community. I really appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. Bye!